Oh yeah, you know what it is. Use the digits 1 through 9, each exactly once to fill in the boxes and make a true equation. This was part of a level cold 5975's 10-year-old's homework, and it has a very similar flavor to another homework assignment we looked at recently, which I dubbed potentially the worst homework ever. This problem too is nightmare difficulty for a homework assignment, but on the surface it doesn't look quite as bad. Though as we'll see, depending on how you look at it, it's pretty close. And right off the bat, if the least bad thing this problem did was to use the hideous division symbol in a long and unwieldy expression, I'd say this problem has it beat by using the dreadful mixed number notation. Just about everybody is familiar with multiplication from juxtaposition, meaning things just written next to each other are to be multiplied together. And this is a handy notation to use and be aware of. But before people learn about this, they learn about this completely wicked and wild notation called mixed numbers, where two numbers being written next to each other actually implies addition, but only in the case where the number on the left is a whole and the number on the right is a fraction. In real life, mixed numbers can have their advantages. Something like 1.5 kilometers is a perfectly clear measurement as long as you're outside of America. And things like 2.5 cups or 6 1/7 tablespoons are common ways of measuring in cooking. But in math class, mixed numbers are eventually usurped by the superior and elegant improper fraction. There's nothing at all improper about these gorgeous creatures. It's a very unfortunate name, but as long as people insist on using it, I'm going to insist that something like 8 divided by 2 is improper division. And hence, 4 is actually an improper number. And so is every other number. So there. But since improper fractions serve as a sleek upgrade to the clunky mixed number notation, it's reasonable that any solution to this problem should have only proper fractions in these slots. If we're gonna use mixed numbers, we're gonna use them right, which means wholes go here, proper fractions go here. So the numerators will all have to be less than their respective denominators. This means, for one thing, we certainly can't have a denominator of 1. In fact, it's tempting to think that the denominators on the left side of the equation have to be 2, 3, or 2, 4. Something like denominators of 2 and 5 seems impossible, because fractions with denominators of 2 and 5 add to a fraction with the denominator of 10. This denominator certainly can't be 10, we're only allowed the digits 1 through 9, 1 in each box, and this denominator can't be a reduced fraction equivalent to a tenths fraction either, since the only possibilities for that would be to reduce it to a half fraction, but we've already used 2, or to a fifth fraction, but we've already used 5. And it seems like this exact problem certainly exists for any larger denominators also, like 5 and 7. This would force a fraction on the right side with a denominator of 35, which is obviously not possible. In theory, it could actually be in a reduced form, but the only things it could be reduced to are to a denominator with 5, which we've already used, or a denominator of 7, which we've already used. This seemingly rules out all pairs of denominators on the left, with the exceptions of 2, 3 and 2, 4, because only these two numbers have products that we could put in the denominators on the right, 6 and 8. This is why you've got to be careful when trying to rule out possibilities though, because the problem we described primarily exists for prime denominators. Sure, 3 and 7 would produce a denominator of 21, which could only be reduced down to 3 or 7, but take a composite number in the pair, like say 2 and 8, this produces a denominator of 16. We wouldn't be able to have a denominator of 16, but it could be reduced down to a denominator of 2, or 8, both of which we know we've already used, or 4, which we haven't used. So it's not actually quite that easy to rule out almost all possible pairs of denominators on the left, which is unfortunate, since we'd like to rule out as many solutions as possible before guessing and checking. But having done a little bit of initial thinking through together, now's your chance to pause the video and try finding a solution yourself. Place the digits 1 through 9 in the boxes to make a true equation where the fraction parts of the mixed numbers are proper. If you're so inclined, you could use more flexible rules, like allowing improper fractions. After all, it's just for a silly bit of fun, but some of us do have standards, and there's no way you're going to get me to use an improper fraction inside a mixed number. That's like a turducken of fraction notation, and I'm simply not having it. Alright, getting to solutions, the OP said they were able to get to an answer that works, but it was a pain in the butt. So the question was if there's any process to this other than trial and error. The short answer is no, but the long answer is that, as we already saw, there are some solutions you could rule out, although they were mostly ruled out as a matter of principle rather than mathematical impossibility. It could be we've actually made the problem harder or even impossible by disallowing these options, but if you're gonna have to guess and check anyways, it's good to limit the number of things you're going to first consider. One of the replies to this post actually said it was a classic open middle style problem, and provided a link to the problem appearing on openmiddle.com, which is apparently a website all about math problems where everybody starts and ends at the same place, but the route to solving it could vary. The middle is open. And that makes this problem kind of a surprising inclusion in their website, since they claim to have 100 unique solutions. And you have to imagine the middle is going to look just about the same for everybody, which is hours of laborious guessing and checking. They do give a hint also, which suggests it's the intention of the problem for us to place some reasonable restrictions on the fractions we consider. Or perhaps the intention of this hint is to get us to let go of restrictions we might think need to be there. I, for example, didn't once think to require the fractions to be in lowest terms, but certainly feel the fractions should be proper. Finally, before getting the definitive open middle take on this problem by looking at their 100 solutions, let's take a peek at the comments on this problem. Here are 2 of the comments, which each gave a solution found by a 5th grade student. You might think this solution cheated by using negatives, but that's just the way they've chosen to express the mixed numbers with those hyphens. Kind of confusing. They have cheated, though, by using improper fractions with mixed numbers, which is despicable, and so did these people. That's insensitive hyperbole, of course. These are 5th grader solutions. That's good stuff. But for our purposes, we'd really like to keep the fractions proper. Well, let's see what Open Middle cooked up themselves with their 100 unique solutions, which have been numbered, and you can see them here. And right off the bat, you can see they have included alleged solutions that use improper fractions with the mixed numbers. And I wholeheartedly reject these so-called solutions, because I'd rather put myself in the warm embrace of a barrel on Niagara River than to put an innocent improper fraction in the cold and unsettling clutches of a mixed number. If there are any real solutions in this list, we'll talk about them shortly, but there is a more urgent matter to address, which is that they claim they have 100 unique solutions here. But they're really counting some that are not meaningfully different. With all the addition on the left side of the equation, of course, the wholes or the fractions could be shuffled around without changing the result. And in this list, they have made things quite confusing indeed by sometimes shuffling the wholes around, other times shuffling the fractions around, never doing both, and sometimes not doing either. Like number 2 here, there is no shuffled form of this solution anywhere else on the list. So we can't just say there are 100 solutions here, but each of them includes 4 trivial reorderings of the unique solutions, so really there are 25 unique solutions. We can't say that because they have been totally inconsistent. So how many unique solutions are there really? And how many of them satisfy our very reasonable rules of only including proper fractions? I wrote up a program that found 156 solutions. So we'd think, great, just divide by 4 to eliminate the reorderings, and we have 39 total solutions that are actually unique. But the thing is, programs are very fickle. Sometimes the left side minus the right side will be calculated as 0, and so my program adds it to the list of solutions. But other times, the rounding of infinite decimals can cause what should be 0 to be calculated as something very close to 0, but not quite there. For example, we know that 1/3 minus 2 times a sixth is 1/3 minus 2/6, which is 1/3 minus 1/3, which is 0. But if we were doing this with decimals and only a finite number, well, 1/3 is about 0.33333, and 1/6 is about 0.16667. So then 1/3 minus 2 times a sixth is about 0.33333 minus 0.16667, which is negative 0.00001, which is not 0. And that's how the computer ends up with what are called floating point errors. The computer's not keeping everything exact with fractions like we would on paper, it's using the floating point of decimal notation. We could change the program to give it some tolerance for floating point error, but this has the big downside of potentially letting in solutions that aren't actually valid, just close enough to pass the check. Thankfully, there's an easy way to deal with this using Python's fractions module. With this, Python will essentially work with the fractions the way we do on paper and eliminate the floating point issue. So I used the fractions module, then removed the reorderings, and found at last 53 unique solutions, which are all included in the openmiddle.com list. These 53 solutions, of course, are written in such a way that the order tells you where the numbers go. This first solution, for example, says that 1 3/2 plus 7 6/8 equals 9 5/4. Now, the more pressing question, how many of these 53 solutions actually fit our rules? Turns out it's only 2. 2 1/3 plus 7 4/8 equals 9 5/6. And 2 1/6 plus 5 3/9 equals 7 4/8. So that's 2 totally correct, unique solutions. Of course, each one has 4 different orderings. You could shuffle around the wholes or the fractions on the left side of the equation. So in that way, we could view it as 8 total correct solutions. Of course, the total possible number of ways to fill out the 9 boxes with the 9 digits is 9 factorial, or 362,880. That looks pretty bad, but of course we could assume you're not going to check a potential solution that has an improper fraction if you're only looking for proper fraction solutions. In that case, if you're only checking orderings of 1 through 9 in these boxes that have only proper fractions in the fraction slots, then that's 10,080 orderings to check. And 8 of them work for about a 0.08% chance of finding a valid solution at random. Of course, like we were discussing, you could rule out many of the possibilities after looking at the denominators, but I can't say I like my odds of solving this one without computer assistance. So how does this compare to the worst homework ever? Well, in this problem, we had about a 0.038% chance of getting a valid solution at random. And that makes our mixed number mix-up problem seem like it's maybe half as cruel and unusual, since this is about twice as high as this. But then again, openmiddle.com clearly didn't have a no improper fractions rule, so if you approach approach the problem that way also, you'd have the 53 unique solutions we saw, but multiply by 4 for 212 different orderings that are valid. And now, since we're checking all the possibilities, including the ones with improper fractions, that's 362,880 ways we could place the digits 1 through 9 in the boxes for about a 0.058% chance of finding a valid solution at random. So in this case, restricting our search with the proper fractions rule actually does help our odds. What a shocker that having a sense of morality is useful in math class. Well, what do you think of this problem? I don't want to be overdramatic. It's a totally fine problem in the right context. If you give students this problem in class, they're going to get talking, trying to be the first to find a solution, trying to think about properties that could help them in their search, and they're going to practice doing a bunch of simple arithmetic. But as a homework problem, I'm going to give it a thumbs down.
I'm unstable, I'm feeling hard to keep the cable cut and unsort the table. If Texas Instruments don't reply, well, I think this time it might be fatal. Wish to sell my own fake, cause I'm jaded.
Hate the odds that I calculated.
Press and pull and pray and push it all the way through the whole blue
Planet faded.
psychosomatic habits, why